Welcome back to another episode of Key Conversations. I'm CJ Norman.
And I'm Katy Norman.
All right, so today we are going to be talking about the big one, divorce. What happens when you're going through a divorce with real estate?
Yeah.
So today's goal is to kind of talk about who it's for, which is anybody who is going through a divorce or is kind of realizing that it's going to be a thing in the near future. Talk about what to be looking for, what the process is like, and then also what other parties are going to be involved during this process and how you can get in contact with them too.
Yeah. So if this is you or someone you know, first of all, our hearts go out to you. I know it's not easy. We know plenty of people who have been in, similar shoes. But we wanted to make sure that you have the tools and resources and some things to think about so that we can serve you best.
Absolutely.
So obviously the transactions around, sometimes people I think that, you buy or sell a house, you just buy or sell a house, and it's just the same thing no matter what, right? Mm-hmm. But when you're going through divorce, it's not that straightforward. Like, it can be messy, and there's a lot of different things to consider. So
emotions are high. Yeah, there's multiple parties, people wanting different things, and it all has to kind of come together.
Yeah, so I guess on that, with emotions being so high, we want to make sure that you want to make sure that you're being taken care of and have someone on your side advocating for you that can handle those emotions and that you're going to trust, because when you're already emotionally fragile and kind of tapped, you want to make sure that you feel like you can really trust the person in your corner. So that's important. Obviously, there's different timelines involved. Mm-hmm. So when you're going through the divorce process, some people, it's all that whole process can be very quick and we know what we want to do. We want to sell the house. It's nice and easy. And some people, it's really drawn out. There's kids involved. There's
legal things, right? Lawyers.
There's just a ton of different, unique scenarios that can be thrown into this that can really throw off this timeline. So understanding your timeline as much as possible is super important to this. And when I say timeline, I don't mean the home buying or selling process timeline. I mean the timeline around your divorce.
Yeah.
And how that plays into your timeline.
Real estate's just a component. It's an important one, but it's just a piece of a bigger picture. And
right.
That's our area of expertise. That's where we can come in and help.
Yeah.
With that piece. I also think, this topic is a little bit underrepresented in real estate because it's kind of awkward to advertise it, right? We were just talking about workshops and what workshops could we put on? It's we're not going to have a workshop hey, if you're getting a divorce, come on out. Next Tuesday at 5 p.m. we're going to be talking about what to do. Bring your almost ex-spouse. It's we don't do that.
Not to mention you've got enough going on when you're going through something like this. So we're not going to layer on another responsibility or thing that you need to do. Obviously, our goal in this is to make sure that that we can help you through it. But some people might just, I think that a realtor might think I just need to know about the real estate stuff. And I really want to know about your divorce timeline and how that kind of plays into everything, because that timeline affects your real estate timeline pretty drastically.
Yeah.
And sometimes we just don't know. I think that there's a lot of things in this process where I've seen friends go through this and people that we care about go through this and clients go through this. And essentially it's they might know the next step in the process, but they don't know what's coming after that. They might have thought that they were going to be divorced and it was all going to be finalized by now, but
they don't know what they don't know either.
Right.
It's having a bigger picture, would be awesome, but a lot of times people don't.
Right. Absolutely not. So, and I mean, it might be seemingly going really well, and the next thing you know, you're fighting over the china, and
in the movies where they have the different color coordination stickers and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be.
But I mean, usually it's not about the china. Usually there's something deeper going on there emotionally. But it's just it's a challenging time.
But it's very, very common.
And it's super common.
So that's why we want to, kind of get into it a little bit. Because
Absolutely.
statistically speaking, half the people watching this might deal with it, you know, right?
Now, there are also legal considerations, I think, is a huge one, and why this is so different than other real estate. So when you buy a property, if you're married, your spouse needs to sign off on you selling it. So if you go and buy a house and your spouse, and you're still married, unless you've worked this out with a lawyer and it's worked into your divorce and stuff, your spouse is going to need to sign off on that.
For the average, marriage in Minnesota, it takes one to buy.
So obviously, do not take this as legal advice.
Yeah.
We are not lawyers.
Right.
But there are legal considerations in this. So one of the things when somebody comes to me and they're like, yeah, we're going through a divorce, but I want to buy a new house because I need to get out of the house or whatever, you want to make sure that that they have to sign off on that, and that your lawyer knows that they need to sign off on that, or that it's just there's other things that you need to be aware of. And so we work really closely with a lot of people in this process, including attorneys and lenders and
other specialists that touch on this.
Other specialists, which we'll get into those specifics a little bit later, but we just want you to know that there are legal things that you want to think about when you're going through the process.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess one of the biggest questions is, who gets the house, right?
Yeah.
What happens to the house? What happens to the real estate typically, in a typical divorce?
So obviously there are, some people sell it, split the proceeds. That's a very normal one. However you want to split it, however your attorney and between the two of you and your divorce figure out how to split it. Maybe it's not 50-50, but maybe, whatever. That's a separate...
a million different scenarios
issues,
with that,
but essentially you sell it. Someone stays in the house, so you might buy out the other person.
Another common one.
So that's obviously a common one. And then there's this third option where...
Another one where there's infinite amount of scenarios.
Yeah.
It's called other, right?
Yeah. There are weird other arrangements. Usually it comes down to either someone's staying there and someone's leaving, or we're selling it and we're both going our separate ways. But then there's this other arrangement I've heard of and seen scenarios where we keep the house for the kids and the kids continue to grow up there, and mom and dad or the parents move back and forth and swap in and out.
Or they keep it as an investment property until down the road when they have a better plan.
Yeah, I mean, there's a million
Temporary
different
arrangements.
scenarios. One of, I think the thought process behind we keep this house for the family unit is that if the parents go their separate ways, they don't need a house that fits all 5 kids, for example. They can just go get a small couple-bedroom house or apartment or something for themselves, which is a lot more financially reasonable than
2 big houses
two
that
massive
support the
houses.
same family unit.
Right,
Yeah.
because it has to go back and forth. Obviously, down the road, that usually those other scenarios get a little bit messy, but obviously you want to talk to your
To
attorney
each their
about
own,
that.
for sure. But yeah, just kind of telling you what some of those things are.
Yeah. So I mean, those are the high level scenarios. I mean, could there be something else if you want to do something unique and it works for you guys? Absolutely, and we're happy to help you. With whatever that scenario looks like, as long as there's a real estate need in there. Obviously, you don't need us if there's no real estate need in there.
Right. Yeah, don't involve us if there's no real estate need, because
Right.
I'm not an expert anything around the legal stuff besides the real estate.
So it's if you keep the house and then one person goes and rents for a little while while they figure everything out, and then goes and buys a house. Those are obviously scenarios where once you're ready to buy the house, that's when we would step in, rather than really early on. But sometimes you don't know, and we're happy to help. We're happy to connect with you right away when you're in that I don't know phase, and make sure that you're corrected to the right people and the right team to support you on this journey. I think that one of the things that we do really well is that there's two of us. So not a lot of realtors that you work with, you know, like if we're selling the house and we're both going to buy different houses because we're getting a divorce, I mean, first of all, our scenario would be a lot messier than that. Hopefully we never get divorced, but you know, like people don't go in marriages thinking that they're going to get divorced.
Right.
But we're selling a house. We're going to go buy 2 different houses. That's 3 different transactions. You want all of those people working together because those timelines overlap a little bit and they might coincide with each other. And so if you have what we've seen people do, which don't recommend typically, is like there's a different realtor in every transaction.
Yeah.
And
don't do that.
Don't recommend that.
If possible, don't do that.
Right, because they're not talking to each other. You're working with different title companies. You're working with different lenders, potentially. All sorts of things.
Different objectives, and the communication needs to be perfect for that to work. Like if, you know, we see, you know, one party in the relationship has their own agent who they selected. Another one has their own trusted agent. And then for the sale of their home, sometimes they're like, okay, well, let's have somebody mutual that isn't, you know, leaning one way or the other. And a lot of times it ends up being kind of just a random pick out of the hat, which is a terrible idea when you're dealing with a very large asset. But just for the sake of things, keeping it neutral, people will do that. But agent 1 and agent 3 need to be in constant communication with each other and also with agent 2, and it just needs to go perfectly. Otherwise, balls are dropped, timelines are missed, you can have delays in closing, and it can be a breach of contracts. It can get real messy that way. So that's like my last recommendation.
Obviously, it could be fine.
Yeah, it could.
But the more cooks in the kitchen, the more utensils that get dropped or bumped, you know, like you bump into each other a little bit more, like, or there's miscommunication that happens. And so the nice thing about working with us is that each party can have like a dedicated agent that represents them and their interests. Now, technically, if you've ever heard of dual agency, technically this is still a dual agency sort of thing because, well, no, it's not because it's not on the same transaction.
Yeah.
Scratch.
Yeah, right. Yeah, let's
scratch
reverse.
that. I'm thinking of if we were working, like if you were selling a house and I was buying, I was representing someone to buy a house, that's obviously dual agency, but I'm just thinking because we're both working on a deal that it would be, anyways, I digress. It's not dual agency. It's been a long day.
Yeah, it's just helpful to have both of us because we talked about the 3 agent scenario, right? But then there's the other scenario, which we've also done individually, is be a sole agent for the 2 people getting divorced and selling their home and also buying their own individual homes. And having to juggle all that and then managing emotions, which, you know, we do our best and everything. But you want to make sure people feel that you're a neutral party too. And that can be pretty complex for a single agent as well. What we're finding is that having us together as kind of that 2-for-1 package really makes it a lot more seamless. You know, like if you're talking to one person and I'm talking to the other person, for the most part, you know, just worrying about them as an individual client, but a together client. And then we come together on the sale. I mean, obviously we live under the same roof, so communication by nature is just going to be really good. And we're going to be very dialed in on everything that's going on while staying neutral and, you know, making it a win-win for both parties.
Plus you have 2 agents working on marketing and selling your house too.
That's
which
true.
Is awesome.
Yeah. And we also have different strategies for marketing. Like they both benefit each other, but you have more interest in like the social media side. I have more interest on like how do I stand out on ChatGPT more.
Yep.
So it's a good compliment.
Which we do for all of our clients anyways.
Yeah.
Regardless of if they work primarily with you or primarily with me. But
it's just a good reminder.
You know, it's absolutely. I think that so like that added communication that you get by working with the 2 of us plus getting your own individual representation is huge. We can help with, you know, not every divorce I know is heated or argumentative or like I don't want to talk to you ever again and stonewalling sort of scenarios. Honestly, usually I like based on what our experience, usually they're fairly amicable.
Yeah. By the
Obviously-
time they're talking to us, all
obviously-
that stuff has kind of already happened, like the high emotion stuff. I mean, ideally, right?
Right.
But,
Obviously, there's still like
yeah.
hard emotions that that you're dealing with, but
Like just for an example, 2 client scenarios come to mind where I was the solo agent on things. One was a couple years ago, there was a couple getting a divorce, and it was high emotions. Like they would use me as like mom and dad kind of to like be like, oh, he's not, talking to me, or she's not talking, whatever it was. It was just pretty nonstop. And I'm like, oh gosh, I'm doing my best here, and I'm trying to get you both the exact same thing. You got to let me do what I do. In contrast, there was a client, probably the most recent one, who was going through divorce. I just talked with him. He was like, yeah, my ex-wife, she's doing her own thing. She already has her agent, but I worked it out with lawyers that we both agreed that I'll just handle the sale of the house, and I'm also looking for a home. That was pretty much like any other client. It was super seamless. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, like every scenario is unique. When there's high emotions like that, I think, our job, I mean, and this isn't any real estate transaction, but I think that we do a really good job of being empathetic and trying to understand the why behind, like sometimes people overreact and a lot of time that's emotionally driven, and getting to the bottom of why that is and helping people see that it's emotional. Like, you want to do this very tactfully, but helping them see that, like, hey, like emotions are high right now. Maybe we just like take a deep breath and sleep on it and come back to it with a fresh, clear mind tomorrow. Our job is to protect our clients. And so making sure that they're not making like rash emotional decisions and things like that is important as well.
Yeah. Validating the emotion that they might be dealing with, while also making sure that we're protecting their best interests and keeping it about what our goal is.
Right. We can be a friend, a therapist. I mean, like, we're technically not those things, so don't think that
we're not licensed, but we're good at it.
I mean, I think that we're pretty good.
Yeah.
But like people will come to you and they're like, I'm not doing this, and I'm not selling anymore, or like just why. It's like, whoa, like where did this come from? And that's what we need to get to the bottom of that. In those scenarios, is like, where did this come from? And then helping guide things back and like calm emotions and emotionally regulate. And
right, because we've totally heard that. And then if we really think about it, it's like you're legally obligated to sell. So let's take a step back here. Yeah.
Right. But also, this is where, I know I say this all the time, but the planning, like having a really solid plan and like working with somebody from the beginning that knows these things about your scenario, and making sure that when you're going through this time where you're already like emotions are heightened, like it's harder to make really logical decisions when emotions are really high. Yeah. So the more time that we can have to ensure that these are the right decisions that we're making, the better too. So I think that that's important. Also making sure that you're supported beyond just like the realtor that you choose. There's a lot of different people involved, like I mentioned, as far as like attorneys or like we obviously know different family law attorneys that we would highly recommend that are really great, and they have some really cool recommendations on how different things are approached. I was talking to one, and one of the things that they mentioned is getting a medical exam right away. Because
why is that?
I just thought that this was fascinating, because your divorce and how, like, what you get out of it, or like whether that be, custody of kids or finances, or, like things can be swayed based on like if you've got a life-threatening illness potentially that you didn't know about. So if you find out those things and getting a medical, like that can, I would say that probably you usually don't have a life-threatening illness that you don't know about.
I mean, it's always good to be getting checkups and stuff, just in general.
That's like, that was what I understand, like what I was told is that those things can play into like how the divorce like proceedings go. Your health can actually matter, which is wild. Again, this is not legal advice,
Right.
so please talk to
But there's just
one
so
of these
many
attorneys
elements.
that we know.
There's just so many elements that go into it, and what we're saying is that we have connections that know the things that we don't really know. Maybe stuff we've heard of. Kind of like reminds me of like CPAs and stuff. It's like, I don't really know what I don't know, but I want you to know it for me.
Right.
We have those people for divorce and separation.
So other people that we know that I think are really important in this process that we have connections to that we would love to give you introductions to is divorce coaches. So like helping you throughout the process of, like there's just a lot of things that go on in this. And so having somebody to help you through this is important, like a mediator and things like that too. One of the other cool things, we've got movers. I know this organizer who is really cool that I hope to have on in a future episode at some point. She told me about the story where she essentially set up a shop out of everyone, like the homeowner's belongings. And so then they went through and like pulled out they were downsizing in this scenario.
So real quick, back up. Her job is to organize people's stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
Organizing, like in
their homes.
Yeah, like the Home Edit on Netflix, kind of. I don't know if you've seen that, but I'm obsessed with it. And they're professional organizers. They go into like celebrities' homes and organize it. But she set up essentially a shop of the person's belongings so that they could go through and pick out their own things. And so you could do something like this in a divorce scenario of like stickers or pulling out like dividing like, okay, these are my belongings, these are your belongings, those kind of things as well.
Keeping it neutral, fair, third party coming in. Yeah, that could be helpful.
And then next week, I'm really excited about this because this is somebody that I've known for a while that makes a huge difference when you're going through the real estate process with divorces. Is we have a mortgage specialist. His name is Brett. He's a lender. He's coming on, and he specializes in divorces and getting a loan when you're getting a divorce because there are very specific timings. Obviously, he's going to go into this because he's a specialist, but have you gotten your divorce decree yet? Or are you paying any alimony or child support? How do those things factor in?
Yeah, what you qualify for is not necessarily black and white when you're going through all this.
It's
especially when you already have a mortgage on a current home that you need to sell and you're getting another mortgage. How do you split that mortgage? Right. There's a lot.
And then there are specific times when you want to be moving forward in the process and you do not want to be moving forward in the process because it's going to muddy the waters and muddy your divorce. So, and just make it more complicated. So those are some things to think about. And I'm just really excited because every time I talk to him, I learn something new. So he's one of those people that we want to make sure is in your corner when we're going through a process like this. And he's somebody that we have in our team that we surround you with in the real estate process when you're going through a divorce.
Makes it really helpful to be in contact with somebody that we know and trust too, who deals with the mortgage side of things, so we know what we can do, right? Yeah. So that's going to be exciting.
I'm very excited about that. But obviously, I guess before I close out, is there any last things that you wanted to mention?
I was just going to say, if you're watching this, listening to this, and you're going through, a divorce or, a separation or whatever it is, like our heart goes out to you for the difficult time that you're going through or about to go through. But just wanted to let you know that we're here and, we'll be here in your corner to help in any way we can throughout it all. So. Absolutely.
That's very well said. Well, we hope that you found this helpful. If this is you or someone that you know, if it's somebody that you know, obviously we would love for you to share this with them. We hope that they find it helpful. And please know that, like CJ said, we're here for you. You can reach out anytime. Our DMs, our text messages, our phones, our emails, always open. So anyways, and then we hope you tune in next week to meet Brett.
Yep. That'll be a good one.
All right. Well, until then.
All right.
We'll see you next time.
See ya. If you enjoyed today's episode, hit like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one.
We'd love it if you'd share this with someone who'd be interested, and don't hesitate to reach out if you want to connect. We're always happy to chat. Thanks for tuning in.
We'll see you next time.